kei tōna marae he waka ka uki uta e ka rere motu ake he kurahuna
Ka pai, ka pai.
No. Huh? Oh. No. We've started now. Are we live now, bro? Okay, now we are.
Yes, we are. Sorry. It's like I'll be tearing my hair out just because that one fucking thing wasn't plugged in.
Wow.
The Jabra. I said that we need to pluck the bloody Jabra in. Hang on, let me just, I'm just going to turn the sounds down on my ears because that's real loud.
I'm just gonna mute me and just check the stream audio, make sure it's not too loud out there. Kia ora whānau, we're here, we made it, god damn it.
Kia ora koutou. Whānau mā, yes, where we are.
Put it on the
Back in
screen.
the studio, back in Tame Iti, Whakatane, in the red light district. I don't know, how did we go from level 2 back into red? I don't know how that happened, but oh well, that's the way that it is. Kia ora Tangi, kia ora Aaron, Tangaroa, These, Jess, tēnā koe Jess. Yeah, we had some gremlins in the machine today.
I can't see on the screen.
Oh, yeah. I don't think he set that up yet. Yeah, he's getting there. Kia ora Tangaroa. Oh, thank you for the, you must still be subbed, Tangaroa, to our Twitch feed with those emojis. Kia ora. Kia ora koutou, how you doing out there today? We are just getting by here. How you doing, Dad?
Good, ka pai. Getting ready for the chat.
Ready for the chat? Which chat? Chat with us?
Yeah, anybody. Bring my thoughts out. My whakaaro.
Yeah.
I feel like dancing today.
Oh well, that's always fun. It's always good to have a kani. What are you painting there today, Dad? What are you painting there today, Dad?
Well, I'm just scoping it. I haven't come up with what the korero around it yet. But
Kia ora Tashi George. Kia ora Rihi. Tēnā korua. Oh, kia ora Sue. All the way from Rotorua. Tēnā koe. Good to have you here as always, Mama Sue. Kia ora Tangi. Sorry, my shirt's a bit stroby today. It's not even my shirt, I stole it from my father. If it's it's okay. It's okay. Oh, kia ora Uncle Rawiri. Your brother's on there, my father.
yeah.
How you guys over there in Poihakina? What you up to?
Can you come and get closer so they can see what I'm doing?
Yeah, it's on this camera.
Which one? Oh, yeah.
Geez, when the talent comes in and starts mucking around with the cameras, eh?
Okay. All good.
All good. Oh. Kia ora Hori. Kia ora. Oh no, that's gone now, my bro. I seem to have lost the chat stream. Oh, there they are, reloaded. Get the boat. Native Kesha. Tēnā koe. Oh, that's good, you're all good over there, Uncle. That's good, we miss you fellas. Be good to see you back here. I think our borders will be opening kind of soon. Be good to see you fellas back here. Hey, kia ora, Aaron. No, we've been good, bro. Yeah, it's good to be back. We took a break on Wednesday, and you know the weeks seem to just fly by these days, don't they? Just, especially heading towards the crazy season of Christmas, just moving all too fast. Yep, love our nation and our people, native. Yeah, because you've just been here pretty much non-stop, eh, Dad?
Yeah.
Painting.
Yeah, every day. Feeling inspired.
Well, that's good. What's inspiring you?
Very addictive.
Are your paintings inspiring you?
Yep.
Kia ora rihi. Sharon. Tēnā koe, Sharon. Kia ora. Thanks for joining us. You're good there, my bro? You winning? Oh, I think he must have muted us. Oh no, nearly.
Oh yeah, I got you, but I'm just setting up Dad's screen so you can see the comments.
Oh yes. Hey, Tangi Korpu, you related to Ted Korpu, the cameraman fella? The bro Ted?
Say hello to my mate John Murphy.
Oh, is he up there? I don't know if he's
Yeah,
on
no,
yet.
he's up there. He's a regular listener.
Oh, John, yeah, no, good fella, John.
Kia ora, my bro.
Bloody nuts, like half your mates. Good guy, though. Like John.
Okay, all right, I think I'm there.
Okay, Aaron just asked if you could turn your mic up a notch.
Yeah, sure. I might just give it a little bit of bottom end as well.
You don't need any, you with your microphone there. I'm all sounding tinny through these headphone mics, and you're going to add
You're
some
sounding
bottom
a bit
end.
better now, actually, because I've kind of given you a little bit of processing.
Yes, sound
really?
much better, clear.
Yeah.
Okay. Alright. That makes me feel a little bit better.
Testing 1 2 1 2, using my radio voice here. Shouting out to the brother Aaron Kerr. How's my microphone sounding now, buddy?
Yeah, good.
How you feeling now, bro? That was a bit stressful. That was an...
Yeah, it's hard not being down there with you fellas and being able to see what things are plugged into. So it's amazing how the webcam being plugged into
a hub.
USB hub versus directly into the machine, and then how our virtual soundboard
It's getting hung up over the Jabra and not being plugged in.
Well, yeah, it needs like a hard device to connect to. So, because what was happening before is I was routing it to a virtual, and that's why it was jittering, because it's all happening inside the machine, and
Oh,
so
yeah.
the machine was going, yeah, get fucked. That's basically what I'm saying.
Get fucked. Get fucked.
Yeah,
Oh, here I'm going to show.
the combinations master.
We've started to frame some of these paintings. I'll just give you a little
Oh yeah, the
squiz.
ones on the easel, are those the? Oh yeah, they're looking dope.
Yeah.
Yeah, look good. Nice, nice frame.
Yeah, they look even better in person. I'm looking at them on the screen and I'm like, oh, this is not quite doing it justice, really.
Yeah.
Are they floating?
Yeah, it's a floating frames. Yeah, but they're pretty nice actually. It's southern mahogany, otherwise known as
nice.
blue gum, eucalyptus. Hey, kia ora there, Too Slick. Follow Too Slick on Twitch. Tēnā koe. Thanks for joining us. So did you go out and hit the cafes today, my bro? You going out and...
Yeah, I drove past, because the bar's open up here, so we went and did some Christmas shopping actually, Sylvia Park, and then noticed there was quite a few people at the bars there.
Yeah.
So, you know, did you say that you guys have gone back to red?
Yeah, we're red because of our vaccination levels.
Okay.
Yeah, no, totally.
Has that changed anything?
Oh,
No, not really.
Not really. Just the whole bloody vaccine passport stuff if you want to go to a restaurant. Whereas before we were going to restaurants before, but now if you're not vaccinated, you're kind of technically legally not allowed to. Not that I want to get into that whole discussion tonight, but that's what's changed.
Yeah.
Which I can kind of understand is a little bit odd that one day you can and then the next day you can't. But that's the shift, I guess. Yeah.
Well, other big news around that, of course, obviously, is Rhythm Vines having to...
Dunburgers.
It's gone, mate.
Yeah, I don't know if it's gone, but I think it's definitely not happening on New Year's. So.
And Northern Base, because you were going to go up and do Northern Base, but has the word been made on that yet?
Oh no, they're not going to make. I don't think they're making that call till 13th of December. So they're riding the line a bit. You know, so I guess if they can still plan up to a point, and they may have a postponement date, perhaps. Yeah, I'm not too sure. I'm sort of a couple of rungs down in the information.
Yeah.
So just as a worker, but yeah. So 13th of December. Hopefully they get to carry on, but it's a fraught time for everyone.
I'm just nudging your mic up a little bit more.
Oh yeah. Okay. Thanks, bro.
Yes, and we just found out today that because you know my son wants to go off and be a pilot, and so we used to go off to this flight simulator place in Tauranga. It was amazing. It was full motion, so you get in and you've got VR gear on, and as you move around, and actually the whole thing would move. They've just shut down. Couldn't last, basically, because you still got your outgoings, even though you might get the relief funding through the government. It just wasn't quite cutting it. And that road put in a huge amount of time, a huge amount of investment in his business, and yeah, gone burgers. Real sad.
Yeah,
actually.
man, that's rugged.
Rugged. And actually here in Whakatane there was a fire last week which took out about 3 businesses. One of them an escape room business, which was fantastic too. These guys put in so much work into their escape room. We went and did maybe 2 of them, and they were really well done. And, you know, they're very boutique in particular, you know, the way that they set up their little mechanisms and things, and yeah, done. Burnt down, let alone with COVID, so it's tough out there at the moment. I can understand,
Man.
yeah. So old Native Kesha's asking our thoughts on the anti-vax mandate hikoi, because that was here in Whakatane today too. There was a big hikoi through
Oh, was it?
Yeah, and there's quite a few people there. I can, you know, I'll always support people's right to go out and protest. We're lucky that we are able to go and do that. We're able to go out and take your voice to the street. Whether you agree with them or not, that's another question.
Yeah, I guess the.
But I do understand people are getting very, people are getting pretty frustrated out there.
Yeah, I know. Aucklanders are pretty over it in terms of what's having to the effect that it's had on us for so long. People are starting to get a bit frayed at the edges.
Yeah,
I'm probably understating it quite considerably. That's how I feel.
Yeah, you're looking a little frayed at the edges there, my bro.
I know. I've got a haircut tomorrow, peeps. Yep. So I'm gonna. But I had to book it in. My local barber had to book it in, and then it was 10-day wait. So it would have been a long time sitting in the chair.
Holy.
Yeah. So hopefully I'll get to come down and see you guys. Not long after I think it's the 16th. I think is when the borders open for us.
Oh yeah, I was wondering about that. So okay, we've gone to the traffic light, but they open the borders up on the 15th. And I mean, and there's some hesitation from the communities down there about Aucklanders coming down and making sure that everyone has, had a test and that they're not bringing it down to these small communities.
Yeah, I mean, fair enough. I mean, that was, I guess, the big discussion point or the big decision for the iwi in Te Tairāwhiti and R&V. Yeah, and it's legit. And I know that's something that's having to be considered up north with the festivals up there.
Yeah,
it's something we had to consider with Soundsplash, and we're a festival that injects 15,000 people into a tiny community that's got is sort of, I'm not sure actually about their vaccine rates, but I know that there's quite a few people there that choose not to get the vaccination, and so it does create a risk. But I know the local iwi were also concerned about us, particularly given that a number of the attendees for Soundsplash are under the age of 16, and that vaccination is optional. So that was a bit of a factor as well. Just in case the people out there watching didn't realise or didn't know, Soundsplash has moved from Raglan and has moved out to Mystery Creek, which is out in Hamilton. And that's a festival that I'm involved with, and it was one of the reasons why they made that move.
Yeah, I mean, technically for you, that's logistically, sorry, that's probably a fantastic thing. But Raglan was great. Soundsplash.
Oh man, without a doubt, it's like Raglan is a one of a kind place in the world to have a festival. And it's beautiful, and it wasn't an easy decision to make for the Brian and I and Mitch, who are the owners. But it was basically a choice of having the festival at all this year or next year rather, or having to make the move. So it's and we're not the only ones. There's a lot of festivals that are having to make those calls, and we're just thankful right now that we still get to have a festival. So the move, it's moving to a place that's really well kitted out, and it'll be, we're going to do everything we can to kind of keep the vibe there. But we'll see what happens the year after, So it's all we could do to really keep the festival going.
I mean, it's still great going to those places, and you got huge sound systems, and you don't get to hear sound like that anywhere else but at a festival.
Yeah, it's what you make of it, So the people there, there to listen to the music and there to enjoy each other's company. And I think if we can all go into it with that mind and be thankful that we get to have these music festivals at all, in such a crazy time, then yeah. We'll get back to him. We'll get back to Reagan.
Only if you're vaccinated, though, huh? You guys are going to have set up passport scanners and the rest of it.
Yeah, it's a pretty interesting time. There is, you know, we got hammered last year because we had some quite long queues. And again, this is kind of one of the things because of yes, it's a beautiful scenery, but it takes a lot of logistical stuff to get you to that place, which looks beautiful because it hasn't got everything there. And so we have to get buses in, and we have to try and get you from the airfield in Raglan over to the reserve. So now we've got ample parking, we've got ample resources. You know, we're not having to pick up cow shit and remove thistles and yeah, and so we're not building a small town for 3 days. It's, you know, it's all kind of set up for us at the moment with Mystery Creek. But yeah, that's that whole getting people to and from sites.
Now you got to try and build
was a big mission. And now what we've done is that what the time we saved on getting them to site is now being sucked into, oh yeah, we have to check everyone's vaccination passports.
Yes.
So there's that.
So that'll be to get your ticket, won't it? Like, once you got the ticket, then you're sweet as.
Carl, we sold our tickets before passports came out. We were sold out. So now we have to connect tickets and passports at the gate.
Can you get a ticket if you're tested? Or do you have
You
to
cannot
be
come onto the site without a passport, without a vaccination.
Okay.
So yeah, it's not even us. It's not even as a festival. I mean, it is, but that's also the venue's stipulation. So not even we could get onto the site to check things out without having been vaccinated.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I know a couple of our guys that needed to go down and check the site out were
not vaccinated.
Well, they hadn't received both shots, and so they had to wait to get their shots done before they could even go and check out the venue. So,
hey, we just had a comment come from YouTube. That's our first comment from YouTube.
Yeah, I don't know is that a real comment?
Vark
tick. Thanks, Doris. Not sure. Well, Doris could be a bot. Could not be too. Aroha mai, Doris, if you're not a bot. And we haven't quite worked out what you're saying.
That's all good. Yeah, kia ora, Aaron. Even vaccinated can spread it though. Yeah, that is true. That is a fact. I think the data shows that it's a lot, percentage-wise, is a lot lower. But I think that's what it's about.
How's my mic volume there, Fano? Aaron, I can't hear myself, so I don't know what that sounds like. I can hear Toy and Dad.
Yeah, you're sounding pretty good on my end, but you know, I know we get a different mix.
Yeah.
And the Oh, no,
so what's been happening with you, Dad?
Yeah. I just want to say some of these people harassing me online, but I just have been deleting a couple of people online.
Yeah, you've been getting harassed, all right. I've been seeing them. They're a bit hardcore, yeah.
You know, they're pretty hardcore, some of those people out there. I mean, everybody have an opinion about vaccinated, but they need to, rather than sending text to me, they need to text to the government, to the states. I am not the state, you know. I am not the government. I have my own opinion, and that's it. I'm not the one that decided, but I made my own opinion. I made a decision about where I stand. It's a health issue for me, my generation. And I have been talking to a lot of my, my peers in all the kaumātua and all the karaua kuia. And I mean, if people think that the whole thing is a scam, kaya rātou tēnā. You know, and that's opinion. But stop sending me that stuff because I'm just going to block you and stop you. Otherwise,
So what's their beef, Dad? What are they? What exactly are they?
They think that I have done, you know, typical kind of korero. I've done a lot of research, and I have a message to you. They say, well, you know, I mean, there's heaps of people doing that, and
Do they spam you?
Yeah, and on Facebook, also on Instagram. And,
So are they bothered that you've had the vaccination and they feel like you shouldn't be propagating that?
No, not necessarily. Not really. They're just putting people who discovered, you know, and they found this information, and it's just all hard for me. I don't really want to engage with people having those opinions.
It's also because Dad has gone on and done a couple of interviews. He was on with Mihi Narangi Forbes on the Hui the other week.
Right.
And I think he said, you know, because Dad's made the choice and we made the call here that, because it is about risk. And if you are not vaccinated, the risk of you transmitting the virus is higher. And for Dad, because he's made the call, because in the community of Ruatoki, the story of the mass graves from the influenza is still very present. They remember. And so these karawa kuia, they're like, oh, yeah, nah, we're getting the vaccine. If you're not vaccinated, that's your choice, but, you know, keep your distance. Because, and so for here at Te Mira, we've kind of made that call. And so he said that publicly on the Hui, and yeah, there's been some people going, I can't believe segregation and the whole korero. And it's like, well, no, like you've got your call, your choice. That's sweet as. You have the freedom to not get vaccinated, you know, and you not being able to be allowed into cafes and da-da-da like that and restaurants, well, they take that up with the government because that's their call. They're forcing businesses to do that. You know,
It's just all hard, really.
Yeah, I can imagine it is for you, Dad, because I mean, a lot of people want to connect with you, and again, you have a anti-establishment brand.
Yeah.
And so they feel like they can connect with you on that level. But yeah, I suppose it would get a bit overwhelming or hoha, having a whole bunch of people come at you.
They're a bit aggressive and full on too in the messages, you know, because they start saying, oh, you sold out, you sell out, you're taking the money, and what a load of
Yeah,
shit.
someone say, I'm taking the money. What money?
bullshit.
I don't know where they got that information from.
Hey, is there money coming in from somewhere, is there?
Yeah, I keep it on the DL. I'll hook you up with your cut later.
Sweet.
Yeah. heaps and heaps.
Oh man, yeah, I know. It's so weird. It's so weird that there's I mean, it's weird and it isn't. You know, I mean, there's definitely people get the wrong end of the stick, and you know, I'll be honest, Dad. I sometimes wonder because you do attract quite a broad spectrum of.
Yeah, I found myself as aging. Is that you know, I go from 0 to 10 just like that. So I'd rather not enter into a discussion or else I don't really want to be abusive to people about their views. But they're quite demanding, you know, they're very demanding.
I've seen the messages. They're demanding. They're aggressive. They're spammy.
They can be quite aggressive.
And they're demanding an answer off him, and it's like, well, I don't have to explain myself to you.
Yeah. I
Like,
just say,
who
try
are
and
you?
get a life. Get a life.
Hey, kia ora kararaina. Tēnā koe hoa, kia ora kaz.
Yeah, that's our whanauna.
Yeah, mā hure.
Yeah.
Tawaki from St. Albans in Victoria. Tēnā koe Tawaki. Hey, Stephanie George. How's it going, Stephanie? Good to have you here with us. Did you buy that couch for us? No, you didn't in the end, eh? That's right. Can't wait.
Are you getting it, like, apart from in your DMs, Dad, and all your in your texting? Are you getting it out on the street?
Yeah. People are having, well, mainly the local people around in Pamuruatoki, Pakatani.
They're all good though, eh? They're not hitting you up in Kanoki.
Yeah. No, some, well, they're not hitting me, and they're supporting. They support my whakaaro, and particularly my generation, the 60 up to 70.
Yeah.
And but otherwise, it's really good actually. But just some of those people online, they're just bloody hoa.
Yeah.
You know.
Anyone who's kind of supporting or supportive?
Oh yeah. No, totally.
Yeah.
Totally. 100%. And
Hey, so you were at a tangi today, Dad. How was that at Duru?
yeah, we were at Arohatu Akui from the Teko, who Pakeke from the Teko, and she was one of the group of kuia that supported that whole move of our whānau out of the institution back in the 80s. And we set up the first whare in whare haua, shifting our people out of the system. And we set up the first whare in the country, which was funded by the by Waikato. There was a trust, a Waikato trust. Colin Meads was one of those people, so that kuia was part of that group of people. But they had a lot of people in those institutions in Tukanui, over in Waikato. And so she passed away, so I went over to the tangi. So they had it all sussed out, to wear a mask. But, and also what changed now, so you don't go to the Maraipo kai anymore. And I noticed that they got bag of kai.
Yeah.
So what they're doing for the tangi today, the people go down to the Kawerau College, Pūtauaki, I think it's Pūtauaki, and pick up their bag of kai. So definitely there's a new shift, there's a new change in how we still maintain tikana and their kawa and feed our whānau, maintaining that. And so there seemed to be the new rhythm and around there due to the COVID. So it's good.
Oh, there's John Murphy. Kia ora, John. Kia ora, bro. Dad was shouting out to you earlier, but I wasn't sure if you were on. Oh, it's been you spamming us, old Aaron. Hey, can't you get notifications?
Thanks. I appreciate it, actually, Aaron. You was when you're hitting us up, where are you guys going live? I'm always feeling the pressure because it's always usually something technical if we're running late or, yeah. So no, it's all good.
Hey, at least you care, Aaron. We appreciate it, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
You come on here and do the stuff. It's good though. I'm enjoying this, and I know it's just we don't get any funding for this whānau or anything. We're just doing a thing, trying a thing out, and see what happens. We're slowly progressing. I got a new light today. It's a bit bright because I haven't hooked it up to a
to the software.
Yeah, to the Wi-Fi and the software, so I can't control it. So it's a bit kind of blasting, looking a bit pale. Get some sun, but every week we sort of add something, don't we, bro?
Yep. It's like, and then we realize there's just that one cable missing. It's always that.
Oh, two slicks.
I know.
I keep forgetting. That's our cousin, isn't it, over in Texas?
Who's that?
On Twitch, Two Slick.
Oh, is it? Were you at Two Slick?
And it's like 3 o'clock in the morning over there or something. Just tunes in.
Oh, that's keen.
Oh, whānau
Oh,
love.
where's my hat? Yes.
No worries, Eddie. We'll see you later. Sorry, Fano, that we started a bit late tonight, so we might go a little bit longer. But totally, the numbers are a little bit lower tonight because I think we've been a bit patchy on our consistency.
Oh, Auckland. Oh, Hedemere. Yeah, well, we're Hedemeres. That's us, Hedemere. Whānau. Kia ora, cuz. Mā hure hure.
Hure, hure.
Mā hooligans. Where is that thing?
That's that korero we were having with George last weekend was pretty good, eh?
Yeah,
That's great.
yeah.
He's the man.
Did he spam you afterwards? He was spamming me.
Yeah, nah, it was good. He was. I think he was really pleased to kind of reconnect because we haven't
great.
spoken to him for so many years. So
Yeah.
Totally.
he was into it, and no, it was good.
So he wants to come back on, Dad, after he so he's off to Sweden, I think, in February, and he wants to give us a bit of a behind the scenes of his installation, and then he also I think he's got a big one. He said the biggest installation of his life.
He did say that,
so
yeah.
far in March, so he wants to give us a kind of a mid-installation sort of tour, and then a real tour once it's all actually up. So that's cool. That's great.
Yeah, man, that'd be cool. His stuff is pretty epic as well.
Yeah, it's epic as. He was good on that flipping that plastics korero too, because I know he gets a bit of criticism for working with polystyrene and perspex in the waste. So
Right.
his whole flipping of that korero was hilarious. I got it. I'm not sure if we could stand up with environmentalists, but
I don't know. It's like it's recycled and stuff. I mean, I guess the perspex stuff is not, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, then you get the hardcores, which are like needle versus, I don't know. Maybe that's not really an argument anymore, but the in terms of the evolution of materials that are used for indigenous art.
Yeah. I mean, that was a great conversation we had with that wahine from Canada around the digital stuff too earlier this week. Sorry, Whānau, that wasn't on air. That was just a Zoom we had with a festival director over in Toronto, and the kinds of things that they're putting on, and a lot of indigenous artists and indigenous artists in the digital space. So that's just another, and that certainly does. Everything comes with its impact on the environment. Kia ora, Kevin. Mauri tū, mauri ora. Tēnā koe. Flower Watcher 79. Kia ora, over on Twitch.
I'm keen to get down there and start getting Dad into doing some works inside VR.
Yeah. Yeah, no, totally.
Yeah, I'll leave that one with you, my
I'll
bro.
start that next week.
He's going to start next week.
Of course. Oh, kia ora, Wikitoria.
Hey, Wix.
Are you back over here, Wiki? Or are you in Perth still?
Oh.
I think you're over in Perth, aren't you?
No, she came back.
Yeah, we do actually have the technology, Aaron, to get Dad into VR painting. Yeah, I'm just waiting for the bro to come down and set it up.
That korero about the needle in there. I mean, Aaron, you had to understand our tipuna took the technology. They used steel way back in the 1800s. You know, some of the moko artists. It's not the tool. You still maintain the kawa and the tikana. Whether you use a needle, whether you use the steel, the concept's still the same. Just like the whakairo. In the whakairo, now there are a lot of guys, if we talk to a lot of tipuna whare now, are carved by machines. So the guys use chainsaw. Are you saying we go back with the axe and the tomahawk in the stone? Come on, bro. Wake up, you know. Our people are, we move for it. Just like here. Are you saying I shouldn't be painting? Use a brush? Or what?
I don't think Aaron was saying that we shouldn't.
Yeah,
I think he was just commenting that.
But
I was the one who was talking about the that stuff. But
the needle and the bone. But there are definitely there are people going back to that. And there's a choice for an artist whether they use the bone or the steel. So if you want a scarification, if that's what you want, you'll get that, and then you got to pay for that. Now we got busloads of artists that are able to cut your skin. Because when you're talking about the bone, you actually it's a scarification. It's a cutting technique, if that's what you want, and they open up just like a carving. There are guys that are able to do that. In fact, I'm still intending to do that, to do a scarification on my skin. And, I still got plenty of time to do it. And they reckon that the best way to do it is where we are now is you use a machine to do this, and then they come up with the cutting technique and cut around on the lines. Take a little bit longer, so it doesn't cut a hole through my nose, all of that. But definitely people are doing that. Aaron?
Poor Aaron. It's all right, bro. We knew it wasn't you. It's all good.
You got the short end of the
All
stick.
good. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh, Wix is in Perth, back in Perth. Oh yeah, because I thought.
Yeah.
It's amazing how quickly time goes, eh? Because I saw Wix and her whānau who are back over, but I guess that was actually quite a few. Must have been a couple of years ago now. So
Time flies, my bro.
All right.
And so our niece got married recently over there. And I think, did your mum and dad make it back over for that? I don't think they did they, Wiki? No, I think they were planning to go back, and then they were like, might not get home.
Right.
So I think
That was recently, eh?
Yeah, that wasn't long ago, but I think that's why Wix went over. Was it that?
So, have your kids finished school?
My kids?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, pretty much. They're in that NCA sort of situation where, what do they call it? If you take the mocks they did earlier, they did some mock exams and
Yeah.
and the internals, and they take a sort of an average and give you your mark, and you don't have to go and do the exam because, hey, you know, it's being messed up for them.
Yeah, for sure. You know what's out of it? It's what freaks me out is how different it is to the whole way that we used to have to do stuff. I mean, I'm starting to sound like an old man now.
You are an old man now.
Yeah, I suppose that's true. I'm turning 48 on Tuesday, apparently.
Oh, yeah, shit.
Yes, Dad, it's my
Bloody
birthday.
hell. But you're 48, did you say?
Yep.
Shit.
Yeah. Yeah,
Wow.
and your Woko just turned 18.
Wow. Kokoro wa.
Yeah.
Speaking of forgetting stuff.
Yeah. No, totally different. NCA is with internal exams, it makes a lot more sense. I still didn't really get exams, I mean, because when you go into the real world, who's sitting exams? You know, but...
Oh man, the way that the credit system is set up, and it's like, it actually doesn't matter what year or how old you are. It's just about how you, it's like, it almost feels like gamification of education.
And I don't get it, and I had to ask my son, I was like, so you're not going to go and do your science exam? He's like, oh, well, I've already passed level 1 with excellence. So
right.
Why do I need to go? And I'm like, because it's a science exam, you got to go and sit your science exam. He was like, no, I don't, Dad.
I've already got the credits.
He's like, I'm just going to take the achieved and, you know, not stress myself out about it. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
And when my daughter was going along to some of the things for the university to, you know, potentially go off, and she's going to take a gap year now, but she was part of the whole Māori in health sciences. And
right.
They had this really great conversation with them around mental health and how going from secondary school into university can be really challenging because you're shifting out of your home, there's all of these really big changes in your life, and don't be hard on yourselves, and you know, potentially take it a little bit slower, and it actually convinced her to go and do a bit of a gap year and make that transition into a flatting situation before she goes back into like some pretty hardcore full-time study.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was fascinating that they were talking about that.
Yeah, I know it's different. We used to just get like stressed out about our school C or our bursary, and it's like,
and it was
you know, we were slaves to the bell curve.
Totally. Oh my goodness. We had exams at Auckland Boys where, because we used to have them every term, and there was some, and because they moved that bell curve, because, you know, where the average was, and they would move it because sometimes certain exams were really, really hard, we had some real bright kids, I was going to swear about them, but bright kids, where they would get 100 or 99% on those really hard exams, so we couldn't actually move the bell curve.
Right. Yeah, it's crazy. It's a crazy system. I'm surprised we're here.
And when I was talking to my son's teachers, they're calling themselves educational facilitators now.
It's kind of exactly what they are. Like the last few meetings I've had with teachers for my kids, and it has been just about sort of how you plan to achieve the credits.
And here's all the resources that you need, and this is what you need to work your way through. And if you run into any problems, talk to me. I'll give you a hand.
Well, the thing that really spun me out was when the teacher said to me, "Yeah, you've got 30 class hours left for that subject." Like it was like down to the hours, and and you just use your class time as a place where you get your, you know, where you can ask somebody a question. It's like being at work, so you go there.
Well, like being at university.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's fascinating. It's a completely different mindset. Anyway, I'm sure this is real boring for everyone else to listen to. Did you get school C, Dad?
No. The big, if you get your fourth form, we get a test there, and because And then they had a government policy that we are able to set test, a written test, math, and then they will send you to do an apprenticeship, and you spend you do a whole year, which is paid for by the government under the Māori Affairs Department, and there was hundreds of us. They were sent right throughout to Auckland. I think they did painting, carpentry up in Auckland, so it was in Wellington, at the Rehua Hostel. I think next year will be 70 years ago, 1952, when the first hostel boys from all the rural area went down to Christchurch. So they did carpentry, interior decorating, panel beating, mechanics, and booking. What do you call the trade? They do books, the covers, and binding, book binding. Yeah, and they also did French polish. They specialised in doing furniture and stuff like that. So I did interior decorating, which I spent the whole year at the Christchurch Technical Institute, and that's my qualification as an interior decorator. Then a lot of our kai ako teachers come from the Netherlands, Finland, from Scotland, and from England. So we did a lot of the old architectural in really around the old buildings down in Christchurch. I really enjoyed it. You know, I think that was an interesting period of time for me to learn new things and new ideas. And yeah, I couldn't go to sleep. I couldn't wait to go to school. I learned more right through the whole year of 1968 that I did my whole period of time at the Ruatoki school. Yeah, I thought that was a dumb place. Not a Ruatoki, it's just a system. And the way that they trying to homogenize your culture. Yeah. So everything was really designed how to be like a Pākehā, how to think like a Pākehā. And so, because we are kids that come from, you know, all our parents come from they went through to the Second World War. So everything was very regiment. You know, it's all, you know, God, king and country. And so everything was in the colour of pink. So everything, and, you know, when you go to the school in the class, they always have a map, the map of the world in the colour of pink. And so the colour of pink means the British Empire. Oh, yes. So Australia, Aotearoa, you know, India, Fiji, all of those countries under there. So yeah, pretty hardcore. You know, so we are the generation that kind of create to shift there from their kind of slavery mentality, and yeah, so that was a bit of a challenge for us during that period of time. I never ever regret those times. All good.
Oh, kia ora, Asher. You know, the bro Ash who's down in Littleton, he's saying that some of them are still down in Otautahi because of those schemes. Probably, people would have stayed down there, Dad.
Sorry?
People would have stayed down there from those schemes. You know, the trade schemes. They would have gone down to Christchurch, down to Otautahi. And,
sorry, I can't quite hear you.
Oh, people would have stayed down at Otautahi when they went down for the schemes. Yeah. And they would have stayed there.
Oh, yeah.
You got mates who stayed there?
Oh, yeah, I can hear now. Yeah, well, the hostel is itself run by the Methodist Church. There was an area in 79 Springfield Road. And so, you know, so we kind of bombarded with that too at the same time, the whole kind of Christian mentality. And so my excuse about, you know, like, oh, I'm a rina too, and I tried to avoid going to the karakia. But I managed to go there, and in fact, I attended the whole year. I went to Bible study, and that was a really interesting period of time for me to really to go to study, do Bible study. And I think it was good for me, because then I start to see things and starting to, because all the things that I learned about Christian being at the Ruatoki, so I had to go to Rina 2, or the Rina 2ism, and also the Presbyterian Church. So we had no choice in the matter. So we just gotta go there. You know, just every Sunday we go down to the Jimmy Rini and Waiara Rini. And there was about 3 houses there in the Ruatoki. We go for the Presbyterian Church. But going down to Christchurch, you know, so all the fellows, so at the rehua, there were all the painter, interior decorators, the panel beaters. I think some of the guys went to training college. And then what else? Panel beater and the mechanics. So then they had the kaihana, then all the builders go through there. And then they just opened up another place there at the Arana, just off Ferry Road. I can't remember the street off there. So a lot of some of the fellows from Ruatoki went across there. So from my year, in 1968, there would have been about myself, John Waka, there's a fellow, Eddie Howay, and he's still down there. That guy left home in 68, he's never been back. Every now and then he'll turn up. And but a lot of fellows from Ruatoki, just a little bit, a couple of years older than me, they're not here anymore. Just a handful of fellows and of our whānau. Yeah, so that's really part and parcel of my, of learning. And I never really had the time to learn, because, coming from a farming background, because our family was one of those families that took Apinanata's policy, government policy. So they want all the natives to go sheep farming or dairy farming. And so we went dairy farming just before the Second World War. And so that's why the old man never really went to, so they exempted him going to the war. And because they had to provide, set up the economy, the farming industry during that period of time. So there was a big change for us, leaving our home. And those who didn't get an apprenticeship, they went out to the freezing work down in Petone, and they went to the car industry in Petone, Austin Motors, Ford Motors, and in Wellington. And I think they had some car industry in the Thames, in the Hauraki district. And but now you don't have those any of that. I just see Trina Baker. Trina Baker's dad, I can't remember his name, but he was one of those early activists that was. They were very much those guys that influenced me in doing shifting, because a lot of those Māori activists during the 50s and the 60s were you either be a member of the New Zealand Communist Party or a member of the trade union movement, and in particular in the coal mining industry. There was a lot of activities around there, and that's really where all the activities were happening back in the turn of the century, and right up to the First World War, the Second World War, and a lot of our people was involved in the industry, and so Trina Baker's dad, Martinga, I think Martinga Baker was his name. And he was involved with Tom Puata, and Tom Puata was they were part of the Māori organisation of human rights, and they're very much the people that supported us to Ngā Tamatoa back in the days. And so so all of the boys, all the young Māori boys went down to but they also had a place for young Māori women that went to doing typewriting, secretary work, in clothing. A lot of the women went through the clothing industry back in the days when we were still producing. Making their own clothes, so in Hamilton, Auckland, Christchurch, and I remember because having the short legs, I couldn't buy any clothes there that will fit my short legs. So I had to go down, quite a common thing for us here to go to get it tailor-made and get it cut. So a lot of our people was involved in the clothing industry, and all my sisters were involved in the sewing. They did a lot of sewing, and a lot of them went they did cutting. And they did all the sewing in the machines, and we don't have that anymore. So everything come from Bangladesh, China, India, all of that.
There's not many industries that kind of do the whole apprentice thing anymore, eh?
Oh, they are happening in different places. So there are groups of Māori organisations that now actually have are funded already, particularly in the welding industry, fit and tuner, back to painting. So there are small groups. I think that I think the government is already are funding some of the organisations. So rather than the department itself doing that, so they actually funding organisations right around the motu. As I have seen some of the korero.
The apprenticeships are still in the trades, plumbing, building, sparkies.
Yeah.
That's where they are, but not in
Yeah. But
interior decorating or painting, hat making, or all those kinds of trades that used to be around there, gone now.
Yeah.
But they are finding it difficult to get apprentices, though. I wonder.
I've heard that when I've spoken to people who are in the trade training sector, that actually it is expensive for builders to take on apprentices, and quite often they'll take them on, like someone will go and do their level 4 certificate in building, and they'll get taken on as kind of skilled labour, but they won't be given the apprenticeship necessarily. And
right,
yeah, the building industry, you go and talk to builders, even though it's booming at the moment, there is a worry that the builders that are going, the next generation of builders aren't going to be the quality craftsmen that the past generations have been.
Yeah,
that's commentary I've heard from people in that sector.
But
many of the 3D printers now.
Yeah, totally. So what was that, Dad?
Yeah, many of the Māori, they went to private school, like Tiffany College up in Auckland and Bombay Hills, also Delta College, all of that, Victoria. A lot of those Māori that went through their school, they all end up going to university. So they did teaching, they get a teaching diploma, a lot of them did accountancy. Even the ones before, a lot of those generation, 10 years older than me, a lot of them, their whānau, their family invested a lot of money to their kids back in the days. And making sure they went to, in fact, some of them, they didn't send their kids to the Ruatopi school. So they attended the whakatane schools, and some of those kids, like the Nikora whānau. So a lot of those guys there, they did accountancy, they sent a lot of their kids doing that. And then through the 60s and the 70s, a lot of our people sent their kids to law school. And the law school, and in fact a lot of academic Māori, particularly in the teaching industry. And so a lot of our whānau Nursing was another big industry down to my Tuakana. All the ones a bit older than me. So they sent their, particularly with the kōtiro. And so they sent them over to nursing. And so a lot of them did a lot of travel. They traveled around the world, some of our partners, back in the 60s, in the early 60s and the 70s. And they did nursing over in England. They got married to foreigners. And some of them, back again now in the late 70s and the 80s, they're still around. And so that generation. And then law was a big thing too. So in fact, that there was a big shift there of Maori lawyers. And so as you can see now, it's a big industry, particularly around in the treaty settlement, court cases, court cases. So there's busloads of Maori lawyers now. Maori judges, now Maori policemen. But there also was huge too in the defense department, in the military, and particularly in the Ruatoki, in the rural area. A lot of those whānau maintained their whakapapa, in particular all of those that they went to they were part of the 28th Māori Battalion, and they made sure that their kids go there and join the military. And so that was our early days when we were challenging each other. Not too sure about that, because they were during the period of the Vietnam War, and a lot of us are opposed to that. And I think that the first time that Maoris ever come to having those conversations to challenge the world, to challenge each other around those cases. Why are we supporting British imperialism and American imperialism? Even today, I still have their point of view. I think military is okay, but it all depends, it all depends where our government take us to. Where do they deploy our military, our defence? So at the moment, they send a group of soldiers and police officers over to up in the Solomon Islands. So, so we got to keep an eye on that too. And where do we send our? Do we send our men and women to fight this imperialist war or not? Do you think we should still have a military? I think we should. But our homeland, to maintain our mana ihi and mana in Aotearoa for all of us. That's just a point, just an opinion.
Kia ora Te Pare. Te Pare is saying that they'd like to see more organic food gardens. That'd be great. I think it's difficult, I think the reason why they use all the chemicals, and because all of the vegetables that aren't organic at the supermarkets are grown in huge monocrops with chemicals, and your crop can get wiped out. I think that's why you pay the premium for organic food, where you can't do it in those big monocrops. Kia ora. So it's a bit tough. Organics, it's expensive. Do you buy organics, my bro? I used to go to Harvest Whole Foods over on, is it Richmond Road?
Oh yeah. I did. I mean, we live in the city, but then time is poor, and of course that's a choice. But we get food bag, so my food bag, and I think a lot of the food that comes through that.
There's a bit of organic stuff comes through that, eh?
Yeah. So most of all the meat's organic, as far as I'm aware. So, but it's hoha that's food that's good, or or that there's this that there is healthy food. Should be priced more expensively than unhealthy food. Just through the way that the economy works and how these things, because it starts to.
That is economics.
keep it exclusively for rich people.
Or they can afford it.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what though.
Yeah, but that's because it could be cheaper if it was geared properly.
Yeah. No, Te Pare is saying they've got got a big garden. Aaron said everyone should have a marakai. I can grow kai through the summer. I'm pretty poor during the winter. I've got friends who grow a huge tomato crop, and they're actually the most off-grid people that I know. Pākehās, but they go handy. They have compost toilets. They practice, because when you're not using chemicals, you actually have to have a really holistic form of gardening to deal with the pests and the weeds and everything, and they do all of that, and they're probably, they reckon they're at about 60% of food self-sufficiency, and they work hard, it's hard work. So most people with their garden, it's kind of a supplementary. I like growing tomatoes through summer because the tomatoes you grow at home taste a hell of a lot better than the hothouse tomatoes you get from the supermarket, which are watery and tasteless, and I'll go to the markets, and if somebody's growing beautiful produce from the markets locally, we definitely go and support them. And they're not that much more expensive, but they do, we're lucky to be able to do that. I don't think it's the same in those big Auckland markets. A lot of those big food producers are kind of, hey.
Yeah. I remember Pop's garden. This is our mother's Pop Fletcher.
Yeah, man. He had a great
Oh yeah,
his garden was mean.
He was a
And you must have. He had that garden when you were over there, eh?
Yeah.
Oh, when you were there, Dad, he was doing his garden, eh?
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't have supermarkets back then. You had to grow your kai.
Yeah, same with us as kids. We had acres and acres and acres of riwai, kumara, maize, sugar cane, watermelon, kakariki. We call the kakariki. What's a Pākehā word for kakariki? The other with the brown skin. What you call that? The melon. But,
rock melon.
Yeah, rock melon. We call it the kakariki. And but we had everything.
I remember your comments about the garden, about the riwai gardens. You said you were like a slave.
Yeah.
As a kid.
Yeah, well, all of us, because we still had our plough, our gardens with a horse, a couple of horses. So we plough it, and we did everything on the horse, and we still had. So I'm a child brought up on the horse. Everything on the horse cart, but hard work, man. I tell you, gardening, we had to do it. We had no choice in the matter.
No.
But all of the farmers back in the days in the Ruatoki, we had all of the farmers come and help out, and particularly they had big maize in the days. So they work for days, and so they have a bit of a party, a bit of a unu, bit of a kite, and. So the riwai, so Orea riwai, so we had rua riwai, and we had to dig a hole, and then we put all our kite down there, and the riwai, and then you set up your seedlings, or all your grading of your different riwai. So all year we never ever bought in anything. All our greens, we had everything you can ever think of. And so
chickens, you managed the chickens as well?
Yeah, we had the hay.
How many hay you reckon you fellas
had? We must have about 100. And so that was really Jack, my brother Jack and I used to go with the buckets.
And was that for eggs and meat, or just meat, or both?
Everything, both. Yeah, for both. There's a kite, and chop the head off or spin it. In dead old days we've done heaps of that, and we then you go down the shop. So the shop there will provide you down the local shop. They supply you the sugar, but we used to buy things bulk. We didn't buy little bags. Yeah, so we used to fill our 35-gallon milk cans with sugar, flour. And so we always had that because they're always cooking. And so down the shop down the road, you can buy flour, sugar, dynamite, bullets, guns, gumboots, horseshoes. Oh yeah, they used to sell dynamites there because they used to use dynamite blowing out for, for trees and rocks on the farms.
Blow up trees?
Yeah. Or in the forest, go and catch some fish down the river and throw a dynamite in the river.
Fishing?
Boom.
Yeah.
Boom.
I think that was the Ruatoki General Store, Aaron.
Yeah.
It's still there. The building's still there.
The building's still there. So then we had three shops, two shops. The big 2-story, the shop's still there. And Jimmy Taz Jimmy Hunt down the road, he also had a shop. But they also had a co-op. And the co-op was a two-way co-op, and there was a industry that was set up by the local farmers. So they had a bakery there. They had the bakery. They bake all the bread, but they also sell bullets, saddles, dynamites, guns, and then you go down to the factory. They supply cheese about that big. I used to live on cheese. Melt the cheese there in the oven.
So you never went hungry back then, eh? No, did anybody go hungry back then?
Yeah, I went hungry. If you don't work, you don't eat. So I know what's hungry being, if you don't work, and if you skip, and do some naughty things, you go straight to bed, no kite. So I become a little rat in the middle of the night. And the old lady had ears like a dog. She can hear things, but she kind of let us do it. and because they had bulk of stuff, so the old lady, we used to make all of our fruits, cooking fruit and peach, because then we all had orchard. So we had apples, plum, cherry or here, and all of that. And so when we had a hoko down the school, so all the farmers supplied the school with everything, and they used to fundraise and make money that way for the ruataku. Yeah. So.
Yeah. You had no devices back then, eh? No Wi-Fi.
No Wi-Fi, but the old man made us listen to the radio. That was a gathering. So we used to listen to Selwyn Too Good on The Money or the Bag. And,
yes.
Yeah, but there used to be a radio program and become a TV series on The Money or the Bag. And then so that was the main one. And our radios are run by a battery, 12-volt battery. And also had a vinyl table there. And then the other thing, go to the movies. Back in there was the Tonto and who was Tonto and who?
The Lone Ranger.
The Lone Ranger.
Yeah, the Lone Ranger. Yeah, all those.
Hey, I just Too Slick. Thanks for the gifted subs over there on Twitch. Thank you for that, Lurkster. Who's Jesus Life. He was also, there's something else he was kind of saying. Oh yeah, actually I thought it was quite interesting. He was just saying how organics is a label, a marketing scam. I tend to agree actually. So it is.
I reckon they should flip it. That everything should be organic, or not that food should be labelled that it's had poisons put on it.
Yes.
That like cigarettes or whatever. That if you've had that this produce has been treated, because basically the apples you buy from the supermarket have been gassed and they've been put into cool store with gas, and that's just the reality of that food supply chain.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it doesn't get to market. It'll spoil. People won't buy it.
I see Donna Hatcher there has just come out of the garden, so she's come out of the garden to listen to us talking about gardening.
Yeah, and so the other thing they were doing in Ruataki back in the day, they had the weavers there. So all the weavers is do the kete. And so the kete, so each family come up with their kete and pick all the riwai. And all the riwai, all the kumara. And so, the kete, there's a kete for the marakai, for the maize, So also the kete for the pipi and the muscles, and then so there's a whānau kepa. So there's a few whānau around the Rātoku. They supply they do all the weaving, and mainly make all the big kete, and the kete kai, and all of that. We also did a lot of preserve, a lot of food, a lot of preserve all our dry meat, dry fish. So we used to have a lot of fish and hanging shark meats, octopus, and because all the whānau, the rini whānau and my uncle Hiki Toko, they're all the divers, and they're the one they go and because we got all the others, so we trade. So the whānau trade, so we give them. I used to trade for a cowboy hat, and I remember some of the guys there. I used to trade for hustle some of the neighbours. And for a cowboy hat, for a bucket of eggs.
Because I remember with our koro from Australia, our koro Ron, when we went over there every week or every third, fourth day, he would go to his cousins. You remember this, why did he? With his eggs, and because he had chickens, and he'd take over his trays of eggs and swap it for buckets of milk from his cousin. So we'd go over, and then the bucket would go into the fridge. And our kuya at that time was still cooking on a wood stove.
Yeah, we didn't have a fridge, so we didn't have deep freeze. We didn't have fridges back in the days, and we had a place what they call safe, and we used to hang the meat there for bloody weeks and weeks and weeks, and so they used to miti tahu. So a lot of the meat there they burned them in fat in miti tahu. So they cook that and get all the water out there and put it in the hinu. And we used to have drums and drums and drums. And then every now and then, because I'm the chok on my generation, so I was in charge of all the kids. There's Tame Iti, Hine Pau, Hana, and then we had little Nano. And then all of those ones, and so we used to actually eat not on the dish, and in the basin, and so they just poured the kai in the basin. So 4 of us eat in the basin, in a big one there. And so my job was to need taho, and we all go in there in the dish and eat that way.
And because back in those days, you could not do all of that by yourself. And even with a family, like a small family, like we've got our nuclear families these days with a mum and a dad and 2.5 kids.
Yes.
They wouldn't be able to do that by themselves.
No.
That amount of work, you have to do it like community-wide, don't you?
Oh yeah, no, totally. Everything. That's why as kids, that's why in Parliament, one of the things I learned going to the city, and the difficulties that we had, because I was not trained how to budget. Well, I learned how to budget, and so I went there. So we had a bank. I think it was a Kiwi bank, but a lot of people didn't know how to go without food, and so I go to the Avon River and you put a line out there, and caught some eels, and go down and do that, pick some puha. But we used to go to Lake Ellesmere. There's tons and tons of. There's a place there I've never seen so much tuna in my life, and then the eels just run. And so we also learn how to gather food, and that's the difficulties with a lot of people going to the city. They're unable to be able to. And that's one thing that I have learned, being brought up on the farm in that kind of environment. I don't have problem to go around and get food. Even if I had to kill a cat or kill a dog or anything like that, and you eat anything. They got 4 legs, and
maybe 2 legs.
And that too. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I guess because these days to survive, you have to be able to budget. Those skills, a lot of people don't have those skills, but so you got to be able to have the skill to be able to pay your rent, get a job, pay your electricity, your car bills, blah, 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 blah. And there's no space really for, if you don't have those skills, that you'll get taken care of within a community. Like I guess I'm saying, back in those days, you could just labour and you wouldn't have to worry about having to pay this or pay that or do da 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 da. You would get kai, you're part of a community, you play a role. Very different these days.
Well, but I mean, the thing for us, for the kids from that era, I mean, you can buy a milk for 4 cents a milk. You can buy a packet of cigarette for 20 cents. You can fill your car up for $2. So it's manageable, not like what you have today. So we actually share a lot of it. Like if you got a car, we share our car. And, we share the cars with our neighbors, with our mates, and as long as you fill the car up, it only costs $2 to fill up a big V8 car. So a lot of guys used to drive around big V8 and or motorbike. And so we share a lot of we did a lot of sharing, tato.
Do you reckon it was harder back then? No, because I know you used to, or just different. But
it's different.
You guys
it's different.
Hard,
it's not hard. I never really regret it. I mean, it taught me how to, how to do things and be self-sufficient. And I think it helped me to, and a big shift there. It's a big shift for me to move moving my politics in the way that I committed myself in doing the things that I have been doing in the last 50 years with many others. I wasn't alone there.
Was there as much mental health issues as there seem to be around these days?
Yeah, but I think it's different. The attitude were quite different than what it is today. But then again, a lot of our people back in those days sent a lot of our people they couldn't handle into the institution. So they end up in the institution like Tokonui, they went Lake Alice down the South Island. A lot of our whānau end up in some of that, but quite a few whānau took care of their own people, and there's quite a few kuia down in Ruatiki alone that are taking care and look after their own. Yeah, there were issues. There was issues of sexuality. There were issues
sexual
around
abuse.
Well, sexual abuse, but also issue of gay, lesbianism, and all of that. So there was a lot of, a lot of discussion around that.
Discrimination.
Yeah, all of that. Yeah. But all good.
Hey, I got to head out, guys.
Yeah, no, we'll call it. We started late, so we're running a bit over. So, but that's cool. We've hit an hour and a half.
Hey, so
about
an hour and a half. Good Dad, we contacted your First Nations mate from, and he couldn't make tonight, but he said after tonight he's free. So we'll
okay. So there's a fella there from. There's a big struggle up in British Columbia, up in Canada.
Yeah, the pipeline, eh?
Yeah, the pipeline. So we're going to come and talk about that next week. I think there's a couple that we're going to talk about.
But thanks for joining us, whānau. Thank you for joining us. Always appreciate your company.
Hey, are we going to do Wednesday? Because we've had the last couple of Wednesdays off, just so we can let the whānau know.
Yeah, I think we should have a Wednesday.
Okay, we will commit to doing Wednesday.
Only because
we'll try and get Russell on for Wednesday, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Sweet. Line him up. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Dad.